So you've done everything they told you to do, right? You've been posting on social media, you've spent money, maybe a lot of money, on a beautiful new website. And you can even see people are visiting. Your analytics show the traffic is there. But your booking notifications are silent, and your calendar has way, way too much white space.
Does this sound familiar? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. This is probably the single most frustrating question for solo RMTs and small clinic owners. You're putting in all this effort, you're getting eyes on your work, but for some reason, it's just not turning into actual patients in your treatment room. So let's dive into why that is. You see, there's this massive disconnect happening. On one side, you've got all these marketing activities you're told are supposed to work. But on the other side, you've got the reality of an inconsistent schedule. Now, most people think the answer is just more traffic. They think, oh, if I can just get more people to the site, the bookings will follow. But what if that's not the real problem at all? And here it is. This is the absolute key. The issue isn't the number of people visiting your website, it's what your website is saying to them when they get there. You've fallen into what I call the traffic trap, and today we're going to break you out of it. Okay, so let's define this concept, because really getting this is the first step to fixing it. Simply pouring more visitors onto a broken system won't fill your calendar. In fact, it's just going to amplify the problem and honestly drain your budget a whole lot faster. At its core, the traffic trap is just a fundamental misunderstanding of what your website is actually for. See, its job isn't just to attract visitors. Its real job is to convert those visitors into booked, paying patients. And if it's failing at that job, believe me, more traffic is the last thing you need. I want you to think of your website like a bucket. Your goal is to fill that bucket with appointments. Now, website traffic, that's the water you're pouring in. But if your website copy is vague, or your booking process is confusing, or you don't answer the right questions right away, well, your bucket is full of holes. And it doesn't matter how much water you pour in, it's just going to leak right out onto the floor. Now get this. The average website conversion rate across most industries is a shockingly low 2 to 3%. That means for every 100 people that visit, 97 of them leave without doing anything. For us in healthcare, where people are actively looking for help, it should be much, much higher. If it's not, you can bet your messaging is the barrier. All right, so if the bucket is leaking, where's the biggest hole? Well, in my experience, most of your bookings are lost in the very first thing a potential patient sees on your homepage. We call this the hero section. You have 5 seconds. That's it, 5. That's all the time you have to convince a visitor, who's probably in pain and definitely short on time, that they are in the exact right place and that you are the right person to help them. This is the only question that matters in those first 5 seconds. Seriously, they are not thinking about your beautiful logo or your clever color scheme. They are laser focused on one single thing, finding a solution to their problem. Your website's #1 job is to answer this question with a crystal clear yes. This slide just shows the difference so perfectly. On the left, you've got this vague, fluffy language like, we treat the whole body. That means absolutely nothing to a patient with a specific problem. It just creates confusion. But the clear, specific copy on the right, it speaks directly to their pain point. It tells them instantly who you help and what you do. And that clarity builds immediate trust. Okay, let's talk about one of the most common and expensive mistakes I see clinic owners make. So many people invest a ton of money in aesthetics, thinking a beautiful website is the key to success. But a pretty website that doesn't get you bookings is just a very expensive digital brochure. You know, I hear this story all the time, and there's this feeling of embarrassment that comes with it, admitting you spent all that money on something that isn't working. So what happens? Instead of fixing the real problem, owners just try to work harder or post more, just pouring more and more water into that leaky bucket. The solution isn't some full expensive rebuild. You don't have to start from scratch. The real solution is to fix your patient booking pathway. This is the system that takes someone from just a curious visitor to a confirmed patient. It's all about making that next step, booking an appointment, the most obvious, easy, and logical thing for them to do. So why should you listen to this over all the generic marketing advice out there? Because this approach isn't just built on marketing theory. It's built on a deep understanding of patient psychology from someone who's actually been in the treatment room. See, this is our unfair advantage. A general marketer, they see data, they see clicks and conversions. But I see a patient. As a fellow RMT, I know we aren't just selling some product. We're asking someone to trust us with their physical health. And that is a psychological decision, not just a transactional one.
Your website has to answer these silent questions before they're even asked. Every point of confusion, every unanswered question, that's another leak in your bucket. Good marketing isn't about being salesy or pushy. It's about anticipating these hesitations and giving clear, reassuring answers that make a patient feel safe enough to click that Book Now button.
Okay, enough theory. Let's make this really practical. You don't need a huge budget or a marketing degree to start plugging these leaks. You can actually start right now with a simple, actionable 5-second audit. Here is your checklist, your homework, if you will. First, look at your headline and subheadline. Are they specific? Do they call out a specific problem for a specific person? Second, is your booking button immediately visible, or do people have to hunt for it? And third, count the clicks. How many clicks does it take to get from your homepage to your booking calendar? If it's more than 2, you're losing people. These are small, doable changes that can have a huge impact.
So if you remember only one thing from all of this, let it be this. Your success isn't about having the cleverest tagline or the most beautiful design. It starts with clarity. Be absolutely ruthlessly clear about who you help, what you fix, and how people can book an appointment with you.
So I'll leave you with this one question. Go to your website on your phone right now, start a timer for 5 seconds. When that timer goes off, what have you learned? If you can't confidently say that you understand exactly who the practice helps and how to book, well, neither can your potential patients. And that's the very first thing you need to fix.